Hello everyone, very good morning and good evening to other friends there in other locations. Good morning Sagar, Kalpana, Jayashri, Lopita, Lav, Shweta. Very good morning friends. Okay. Very good morning Sami. Okay friends, so I think we can start the session with yesterday's problem, which we had left it over wantedly. So we'll continue from that problem, what we left over yesterday, and okay friends, so this is going to be the last problem on our level of detail expression. So this is going to be one more business scenario what we would be working on with. So here we will be connecting to our the global superstore itself. Okay, so this is under the module 8. We are going to see the problem number 3, I believe. Okay, so we have seen the problem number 1 and 2 already using the fixed LOD expressions. So this is also going to be very similar to that, but only thing is in terms of the visualization and other aspects, it's going to have something different. So we'll just see that. Okay, so the requirement here is, friends, our CEO wants to report comparing sales of all the category with another selected category. So how do I compare the sales of all categories to a selected category? So first we'll try to understand the visuals, what is required for us. Okay. Then we will make use of, you tell me which LOD expression to use there. Okay. See, this is the visualization what we are getting here. See, what is the visualizations? I am selecting one particular category here. So as soon as I selected that particular category, my values are getting reduced. So whatever this category value is there, for all the other categories which are towards my left, and there I am scrolling my cursor, if you see, it is displaying something in negative. So what it is doing basically, it is basically subtracting the value of this with the value with its actual value. So what is its actual value? It is 456,723. So 456,723 minus this will give me minus 707,861.08. Similarly, for the next one, for this category, it is computing the difference between this value and this value. 638,582.09, and it is giving me minus 526,007. So here, this is what the visualization that we are supposed to get. Okay, so this is the visualization we are supposed to get. However, for this, to get this visualization, friends, so we are going to take on the category, and based on this category we are going to see the difference from the selected category and the sum of sales. So two items we are going to see. There are two measures here. One is difference from the selected item, and other one is going to be the actual sum of sales. So this is what. So I am going to select one particular category here from my parameters. So also note there is a parameter which is getting created. I am selecting one particular category from my parameters. So whatever category I am selecting, it is highlighting me that, and also what it is doing, it is just finding out the difference between my selected category to that of the other values. Okay friends, are you all with me? Did you understand the question? Any doubts here? Are you all getting the question, what we need to do? Okay. Okay friends. So if you are all understanding it well, then it's well and good. So Kanya, how about you? Are you getting it? But why are the other products showing negative? We are not considering that. Okay. So Sagar, here the problem is, see, the question is basically on this part. See here, this particular thing which is there, I am just selecting this particular category. When I am selecting this particular category, I am able to get the difference between this category to that of all other categories, what I am able to see over there. So this is basically the value what I am selecting here, and it's going to be the difference between the value whatever I am selecting here with that of all the other values. What you are seeing. Okay, so that's why the values are coming and showing in negative all other values. So these are not the actual numbers, they are basically the difference between my selected value to that of their actual numbers. So that is why it is showing us difference from the selected. Okay, so technically we have not selected those products. No, we have not selected those products. So here the requirement is, Sagar, is to see the products whatever you have selected, that will get highlighted towards your right. Can you see this place? There alone your products got selected. However, in your left, it needs to display the difference between the selected category and that of the actual values. So that's why the other products are showing as negative. So that is what the requirement is. They need to perform a comparative sales between the selected product to that of all other categories. Okay. Okay. So now what we'll do, we will quickly go around this. I'll connect to this data source and let's see how to perform this operations step by step. So the first thing here, friends, what we are supposed to do is, we are supposed to take the sales of a category with another selected category. Okay. So first, I'm going to create a parameter here. Okay. So I'm going to create a parameter based on a category. See, carefully see how I'm doing that. I'm taking this category here. It's not a category, it's actually subcategory what they have taken. So I'm just taking the subcategory here. So I'm going to the subcategory, right clicking here and create a parameter based on the subcategory. See what is happening here, friends. As and when I do that subcategory parameter, by default my data type is determined. By default my current value is going to be accessories that is getting selected, and I'm getting all the items which are there within that subcategory as a list of items there. So I'm just getting it as a list. This is what the advantage of right clicking a field and then creating a parameter. Rather than creating a parameter directly from this drop down, right-clicking a field and then creating a parameter. This is what the advantage is. So automatically the values which are present within that parameter gets as a list. No, the parameter is on subcategory, friends. The reason is that they have mentioned it as category. However, we don't have all those values in category field there. We have it in subcategory. So that's why we are using subcategory field here. Okay. Okay, friends. So now this part is done. Now I have created a parameter called subcategory parameter. Okay. So my parameter I have created now. Okay. Now what am I going to say? So now my first thing is, friends, I am taking my subcategory. Okay. I'm taking my subcategory. I will just remove the discount from here. And I will take the sales. Okay. So this is one view what we have got, friends. I'm just swapping the axis so that it's just looking like this. Okay. So now my requirement is, my first requirement is, like I need to show this parameter, subcategory parameter. I need to first enable this show subcategory parameter control. So whenever I'm selecting one particular item, I need that item to be displayed here. That is what I want. So whatever items I'm just selecting from this parameter, I want that item to get highlighted there in my list. So in order to do that, what I can do, can you all tell me what query I can use? So whenever I'm dropping down this particular parameter, I need to highlight that particular item here in this list. So how to do that? So how to enable that? Okay. Okay. Yeah, we can use the LOD part the later, friends. But before using this, so if I'm just Samir is saying we can drop it in the filter shell. But if I'm dropping it in the filter, what will happen, friends? I'm taking this parameter and dropping it in the filter. First of all, when I'm trying to do this particular operation, can you see, it's not allowing me to do that. Because a parameter itself is going to be a dynamic filter, then why I need to use that as a filter again. So how to enable a parameter, friends? We have seen this already. You need to tell me the answer. You have seen this already? Okay, we can drop it in rows. No, if I'm taking the subcategory parameter, whatever I created, see here, I can just drop it like this. So it will just list me the items there, but this doesn't solve my requirement. So what I can do? What I can do, friends? I need to capture my selection, whatever I'm making here. And based on the selection, whatever I'm making here, I need to enable something there. Do you understand my question? This is a very, very important requirement, friends. When you are using Tableau, your business users might ask you certain questions like this. Like I wanted to pass on some parameters to my report. I would like to use my report more interactive way. So that point of time you should be in a position to answer this. We know that. What is that we need to create here? You tell me. We all know what is the answer for this. Difficult. I think so. It is that difficult. After I show you this. So what are we supposed to do? Exactly, Samir. We need to use a calculated field. So friends, how to activate the parameter? Whatever parameters that we are creating, to enable that parameter, we need to create a calculated field. So parameter can't be enabled just like that. Just like that by dropping it in filters or in the rows or like using it like dimensions, we cannot activate them. Then, how to activate that? We need to use or create a calculated field. So how to use and create a calculated field? So based on sales, I'm going to create a calculated field. I'm going to right click here and click on calculated field. So here what I'm going to give is selected sales. I'm going to create a calculation. So in this calculated field, what I'm going to say, if the parameter, what I subcategory parameter, if my subcategory parameter, see that's what it is, we are doing there in the calculation also. If that category is equal to, so what I'm checking here, if my subcategory is equal to the subcategory parameter selected. If my subcategory is equal to the subcategory parameter whatever I have selected, then you display the sales. Else, you end the same. Are you getting me, friends? I need to first highlight and show that for the selected sales. So I need to, for the selected sales, I need to show and display something here for the selected sales. In my column shelf, see here, now what is happening? I have two views. Whatever view I am showing, that value alone is getting highlighted. Bookcases means bookcases is getting highlighted. Whatever items I am selecting, that item is getting selected automatically. So this is the query, friends. I will give you this. You have a look at this, so then you can implement it. So this is very, very important part of creating interactivity. It is sales, Samir. Sales or automatically sum of sales, it is going to aggregate that value, so it doesn't make much difference here. So we'll use sales or sum of sales. No. So anyway, it is going to display me that sales only. Can you see here? It is displaying me the sum of aggregated sales only. Automatically a sum is getting applied here. So no need to worry about that because the sum operation would be applied whenever we are doing the aggregation. Are you all getting this, friends? Are you all getting this? Everyone? Jayashri, Kanya, Lokita, Samir, Manikandan. Do we have Manikandan, Shantini? Shantini, okay. So this is how we can enable a parameter. Yeah, okay, Sagar, that's great. So this is how we can enable a parameter here. Okay. So after enabling this parameter, what is next that we need to do? I need to find the difference between this particular selected value and that of all other values. Correct? So I need to first, whatever parameter I am just selecting from this list, I need to show that item, and what I need to do, I need to find the difference between this particular item and that of the one what I have selected here with all the other values. I need to find the difference. Now tell me how to do that. So I'm just control clicking on subcategory and dropping it in colors to make it colorful. Okay. Okay. Now you tell me, friends, how to find the difference between this particular value to that of all the other values which are there in the list. How we can do that? Okay. Yeah, the exclusion is going to be the next part, Hasani. That's right. You are right. We need to use an LOD expression, Lopita. That's right. So before using LOD expression, what I need to do? So I need the difference between this value and this value, right? For which I need to create a calculation, right? Exactly. I need to create a calculation here, friends. Okay. So how we are going to do that? So exactly, Jesh. That's right. The sum of sales minus sum of selected category. We need to find a difference between that. Okay. So for which, what I'm doing is, friends, I'm going to create one more calculation here. I'm going to create a calculated field. Okay. So in this calculated field, so I'm just giving this name, difference between the selected and the sales category. Okay, so here what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make sum of sales minus sum of selected sales. So I'm going to get the difference between the sum of sales and sum of selected sales. Two things I'm going to use here. Okay. So after I'm doing this, I got this calculation created somewhere here. So I'll have the selected sales. Okay. Now let me add one more field. Difference between my sum of sales and sum of selected sales. See here, friends, I am selecting fasteners. For fasteners alone, this value is getting subtracted. Because the query what I have returned is very static here. It is just going for that cell level alone, and then it is finding out the difference. However, I don't need this. What I require? I need this value to be subtracted from all the values which are there in my list. I don't want this alone to be seen here. Yes. So I don't want this to happen there in my query. So in order to mitigate this, what option I have, friends? So why do you think this is coming like this? First question is, why is it getting difference between this value and this value alone, and why it is not taking a difference between the others here? What is stopping that? What do you think is stopping that from getting displayed? Okay. Yeah, Hasani, you are right. The parameter what we are selecting, it is just highlighting only one particular value there. So what is happening, my subcategories for that particular value alone is getting reduced and I am getting the result as 0. However, for the remaining other subcategories, I am not able to get that numbers. So how to resolve this issue? I don't need this output. I want this value to get subtracted from each and every category, whatever I'm selecting here in this list. I want this to get subtracted from each and every individual value. Okay. So what we can use is here, friends. Yeah, Lopita is saying you can use exclude the value with LOD exclude here. Okay. You'll see how to do that. Okay. So here we are done here with the creation of the parameters and then taking the values. And we assign that parameter to a value. Okay. And the next one what we are doing here is, see here, they are excluding the category, sales of selected category. Here this is what, the exclude LOD expression can be used to propagate the sales from all selected categories across all categories. This would make it easy to compare the sales of each category to the selected category. So what is happening here, friends? So prior to I compute this particular thing, I need to find this particular value. That is, I need to use an exclude LOD expression here, which basically excludes the excludes all other categories from this comparison. Okay. First, I need to do that, and then I need to find the difference between sum of selected to that of the list of all excluded categories. So after this, the view in which this example is faced, friends, this is not in the right order. So you don't get confused after seeing this. So it is actually confusing even for me when I'm seeing this. So this is not like looking good there. So yeah, Samir, that's right. You need to exclude the category here from that list and then use the sum of selected sales. So you follow the order what we are doing here, friends. So no need to worry about that part. So here, what are we going to do? We need to exclude the category from this. In the sum of selected sales, what you are doing is we need to. So if it is subcategory, then based on this we will be having this parameter selected. And what we will do now is we will take the again sales and we will create excluded selected category. We will create a calculated field with an LOD expression here, friends. Okay. So what we will write here is we will write this exclude LOD expression. So what I need to exclude here, I need to exclude the subcategory and compute my sum of sales. I need to exclude my subcategory and highlight my sum of sales. Exclude category, I just return an LOD expression. So after I am writing this LOD expression, we see what is happening here. So what this is going to help me out, friends, so we'll just see that. For now I am just removing the remaining things in order to not confuse you further. Okay. Okay. See here, I'm going to select one particular category here. So I'm just highlighting that. So I just selected the fasteners here. So can you see what is happening here, friends? When I'm excluding this particular value, what is the result that I'm getting? Can you see that? It is giving a number 12,642,502. So 12,642,502. So it's 1 crore 12,000. So it is 12,642,502. Okay. So this is what the numbers I'm getting, and the same numbers is getting reflected across all the subcategories. Why that is there? Because when I'm excluding, there is only one item here in this list. I have excluded this also, so it will be showing my overall sales here. That is the sum of all the categories from starting until end. It is going to show me the sum of all the categories from start to end. So this is why we need to use this exclude LOD expression here. So from start until the end of this, it is basically going to take all the values and it is adding up all those results and getting replicated. 12,642,000. This value is getting replicated across all my subcategories. This is getting replicated across all my subcategories. So now what is happening, because of this getting replicated across all my subcategories, now the earlier difference what I found, I need to find the difference between my selected category and excluded category. So I need to find the difference between my sum of selected sales and my sum of excluded category. So now I'll just remove this excluded category from this list for a while, and we will add the difference between the sum of this and that. So now what is happening? See, it is just showing me the difference between this value and that of the value whatever I am selecting over there. So it is just displaying nulls for all other values. So what has happened here? The first thing is we selected a parameter category and we created a parameter and we got the sum of selected sales. So now we are excluding a category and we are computing the sum of selected sales. So first I am creating a parameter called selected sales, and then I am excluding that category and finding the sum of selected sales. So here in this, I am excluding the subcategory. Instead of sales, it has to be the selected sales. So it has to be the selected sales value. Now can you see? That's why now it is coming as 0 for now whenever I am selecting that particular category value. So whatever value I am selecting, I am just seeing that particular value getting highlighted, and now it's becoming as 0 here. So it has to be the selected sales minus this value, friends. Okay. So whatever value I am selecting this, from that it needs to reduce the selected sales value. Okay. So this is done now. So now we are getting this results for whatever results that we are able to see, we are able to get this result now. Okay. So now sales of so this is going to be the view there. Okay. Now what we need to do is the next thing. So now we need to find the difference between the sum of sales. So with that of the previous parameter what we have created, that is sales of selected category, which has this exclude LOD expression. So for us we have it in this. So we need to find the difference between the sales and that of the one which is excluded here. So if you are seeing this sum of selected sales, so the result would be for us initially. Okay. So this is going to be the total sum here, friends. So whatever sum that we are seeing here is going to be the total sum there. Let me clear some cache here. So now what is happening, whatever category I am selecting, it's 1509463, the same value is getting replicated across all the categories here, because that is the only value what I am selecting there. And that value is getting replicated across everything there. So whatever item I am selecting there, that value gets copied on for all the items here. Are you able to see? Whatever item I am selecting over here in this selected subcategories, that values are getting copied across all items. Okay. So now we need to find the difference between this particular value and this particular value. Now when we are computing the difference between this sales and excluded category sales, now we will be able to get the desired results what we wanted. Okay. So I think most of you would not have got this. I am going to explain that to you again once again, friends. Okay. So we will see that once again. Okay. So the first thing here, friends, what are we doing? We are creating a parameter here. So the first thing we will be creating a parameter based on the subcategory. That is going to be our step 1. These are the steps. Create a parameter based on subcategory. Okay. This is going to be a step 1. Second, create a calculated fields for highlighted. Okay. Highlighted. Okay. So this is the first step, friends. What we are going to do. First, you create a parameter and associate that parameter with a calculation here. That is going to be my first step. So what is that calculation? What I created, that is going to be this selected sales calculation. Okay. So this is for just creating the selected sales part alone. Now this is done. This would be my first step for doing this comparative sales. And my third step here would be to create this level of detail expression. So why level of detail expression? So we need to understand that here. So why we are creating this? See here, friends, instead of exclude here, if I am just saying sum of selected sales alone. So assume that instead of using this particular LOD expression, I am using this selected sales value alone. Means what is happening? You see, I have just dragged and dropped it here. So what is happening here? It is just selecting the sales of that particular value alone there, and it is just highlighting me that particular value alone. However, it is not subtracting this value from all other values. The reason is because my parameter has only one value that is selected. So I need to show it to the user that as I'm selecting only one parameter, my background, it needs to compute the difference between this value and all other values. If I am directly applying a difference between this value and this value, you see the difference what we got. This is what the result we would have got. So sum of selected sales and excluded. So instead of this, exclude category. So sum of selected minus of the sales if I am getting. Instead of getting excluded category, I am just using sales. You assume that. Instead of the selected category, I am using the sales. Now you see what my result will be after I create this calculation. And you see here, friends, you are just getting 0 only for this particular whatever I have selected alone. However, it is not the difference for all other values. The reason is the view is getting selected only one. The reason because of this view we have subcategory, it is computing for that particular row only. So here what is my requirement? I need to, whenever I am selecting a value, I need to replicate the same value across all my subcategories and then find the difference. See, when I am doing this particular part, I am just getting it as 0, friends. Friends, are you all getting this? Sagar, Kalpana, everyone? Okay, is my voice breaking, friends? Okay, how about now? Still? Okay, now it is fine. Okay, still it's breaking. So some of you are saying it's still breaking. Now it's okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. So see, Now what has happened, I am just trying to find the difference between my selected value to that of my overall sales. It is just displaying me 0 alone. Right? So this is what is happening, friends. If I am not using this LOD expression here, this is what is happening. I am just getting the 0 for this value alone. I know that this and this will be reduced and the 0 will be my value. I would like to know what is the sales of all other items which are above this, which are below this. I would like to highlight that. My user would like to highlight that particular thing there, rather than just displaying the 0. Are you all getting this point, friends? Everyone? Are you all understanding why we are using an LOD expression here? And without using LOD expression, what is happening out to the view? Okay. So now we'll go to the next step, that is creation of this LOD expression. So the step number 3 here would be creating an LOD expression. So why we need to create a LOD expression? For this reason only. So I need to replicate this value across everything, across all the subcategories. Okay. So I'll just remove this and I'll show you after adding this LOD expression what is the result. So now what happens? The value whatever I have selected, that value has been replicated across all the subcategory items. It's getting replicated across all the subcategories. This is what I wanted, sir. This is exactly I wanted. So now if I am using this result, if I am subtracting this from this, I will be able to get the difference between my selected value and this value. So this LOD expression exclude is helping me doing that. So this LOD expression exclude is helping me out in doing the replication of the values. So this LOD exclude is helping me doing that. So now what is my next step? Can anyone tell me? Sagar, Kalpana, someone? Can you tell me what would be my next step here, friends? What I need to do? What two values I need to subtract? Yes, I need to create a calculated value, that's right. So what is my next step, friends? I need to find the difference between my excluded category and sum of sales, right? So exactly, that's right, Samir. So we need to find the difference between the excluded category and that of my sum of sales. I need to find the difference between these two. That would be my next step. So instead of doing the difference between my previous value, I will be finding out the difference between my excluded sales excluded category with that of my sum of sales. This I will be finding out the difference between this and this. Okay. Now I am clicking on OK. I don't need this excluded category in my view anymore, friends. Okay. I am just removing it from the view. Now, when I am getting the difference there, I don't need the sales also here. I'll just remove this from the view. I'll have difference between my selected value and this value as my first and this as my second. Yes, that's right. So here, friends, the fourth step, the final step here is going to be this. Whenever I am selecting any of the items or categories from this list, do you see? So these are all the categories which are above performing than this particular accessories, and these many categories are below that. So these many items are below furnishing in terms of sales, and these many items are above that. So what are those categories? Now I may able to do a comparative sales between these two categories, and I may able to get whatever items what I am selecting, I may able to get the view what is required. So that would be my final step here. So this will be my final step here in order to perform this operation. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So these are the list of steps that is required in order to perform this LOD expression calculations. I am saving it and I will be sharing the steps with you all so that you can practice it when you are finding time. Any questions here, friends? Any question? What you are not getting? Why we need to use LOD expression here? LOD exclude, why we are using that? Are you all getting me? Why we are using this LOD exclude there? Are you all fine with this, friends? Now, so I'm just sharing all these steps with you so that you can have a look. Okay, Jayashree is fine. How about others? Are you all getting this, friends? These are the steps that we need to follow. Kalpana is fine. Lokita is fine. Afani should be fine. How about Sagar, Kanya? Prajakti is fine. Okay. Samir. So how about you, Sagar? Are you getting this? What is happening there? Yeah. So here are the steps for this, Sagar. So don't worry. This is not this first time when we are saying it would be difficult for us to see, but as you practice it, as I always say, that should be easy for you as we move on and on. Okay. So don't worry about this. Definitely it's going to be easy as you practice more and more. So one important thing that is required to know here is in terms of LOD. When to use which LOD expression and how to make use of those LOD expressions there. So that is one thing that we all should know always. Okay. Yes, Kalpana, there are more and more practice exercises like that. So if you see your assignment question and if you see your project, the final project what you guys are going to do, everything is going to be more of practical there. So, and it's going to be more and more of problem solving. So in LOD there are limited number of items, friends. So the most used LOD expressions I will give you that list. So you can now understand, so now you are in a position to understand any LOD expression that is given. You can try solving that at least, if not solving it right way. Initially you might feel it's difficult, but as you practice more and more, this is going to be cakewalk for you. So LOD expression plus Tableau. So I'm going to share you 15 LOD expressions for Tableau software. So here there is a list of all LOD expressions, friends. I want you all to see this list first and work out on the examples with this list. So the examples, whatever we have it written here, so don't worry about that. So whatever things that we are having, we'll just make use of this examples here. Okay, don't worry. So this is what the LOD expressions, what we are having. Okay, so this is the link. Okay, so this is somehow not getting copied because of some problem. Anyway, it's fine. So this is the list of all LOD expressions link, friends. I just sent to you now in the chat window. You have a look at all these LOD expressions and let me know. So friends, with this we conclude this module number 8 of this LOD expressions part. So there are more examples there in that LOD expression. You can have a look at that more. Yeah, sure, Samir. You can let me know by Monday on how things are working there and how it is going. Okay. So with this, we are done with our module 8, friends. We saw about how to do a comparative sales, how to meet the percentage of products, how many products are meeting their percentage. We use the include LOD expression here to find the difference between the actual and targeted sales. We created that, and we also tried using various other complicated examples and problems. So this module was mostly practical. The reason is it is mostly like complicated examples. So it was mostly practicals, and I believe most of you should have got it by now. But if you are not getting it, please see my video once again. So you just practice it again. Then you should be getting that. So I think almost in detail we have covered everything. You just see this repeatedly. Then automatically you can get that. So here this is the first example what we saw about using the order date, how to get the minimum of order date from that list, and how to find the difference between that first order date, second order date, and if it is greater than 6 months, how to do that. We saw in that example. And we saw something about cohort analysis. So cohort analysis is nothing but how many of your customers you have retained from previous year to current year, how many new customers you have added, what has been your sales volume. So that is what you did it in cohort analysis. And there are 2 assignment questions for you. What is daily trend of total customer acquisition by market? What is the total number of customers acquired per market by day? That is your first question. Second one is this. It is like finding out a cohort analysis, and you will be using a global superstore for this. So you please practice these assignment questions. So I think after that, and then you will be done with that LOD. You should be thorough with that LOD expression and calculation. So here we conclude the module number 8 of this training session. Now we will move on, jump into module number 9, where we will be creating more of chart. This is going to talk about more advanced visualizations. So we will see about this module number 9 here. We will see on more about the chart and stuff there. So we will take a break for 5 minutes, friends. I'm just restarting my system as it's asking me to do that. So after my restart is done, I will be logging in. So we'll go for a break for 5 minutes time before we begin this. So I'll just introduce you to what are the concepts we are going to see. Okay, so these are the items that we are going to see in this module. Okay, so these are the things that we will be covering as part of this module, friends. So, excuse me. So we are going to cover box and whisker plots. We are going to see about Gantt chart, the waterfall chart, the Pareto chart, control chart, and funnel chart. So all these are like advanced charting options, friends. Whatever we'll try to cover whatever things that we can cover it by today, and we'll cover the remaining on the next class. Okay. Um, okay, friends. So for now, we'll just go for a break for 5 minutes. We'll just come back after a break, friends. Okay. And we'll start with this box and whiskers. Okay, friends. We'll just go for a break now. See you. Okay, friends, if you are all back, shall we continue this? Oh, okay, friends. So now, as a part of this module, we are going to see some advanced charts here. So one we would be what we make use is the box and whisker plot. So how many of you have seen this box and whisker plots, friends? So have you used, some of you, have you really used this box plots or the whisker plots? Okay, I believe no one. Okay. No issues. Okay, not a problem, Jayashree, Sagar. Thanks for confirming. So this box or whisker plots are generally going to be used for some analysis there. So I told you about this one particular thing, right? The PDF, which chart to use for what purpose. So I'll just open up that PDF. Which chart for what? No, not this one. Let me open it up. Yeah. Okay. So this was that. So what we saw here, we will go for this box and whiskers first. Okay. So here you see, friends. So this is going to be the real-time usage of this chart. So box and whisker plots are an important way to show the distributions of data. So whenever a distribution is there, so what is the distribution, friends? You must have heard about something called normal distribution. And whenever there is a large amount of sample data which is there, out of that sample, you would like to categorize that sample into various parts. And generally in statistics, what we do is, we generally make use of this box plots and this whisker plots to show some important data. So for example, when there are like 100 million records, it is not possible for a statistician or a data scientist to sit and see all 100,000 records and validate that for error-free nature. So what we do generally is, we generally categorize that data into distributions. So out of the distribution, we take a sample of that data. We will not consider everything. Instead, we take a sample of the data, and with that sample of the data, we will be making use of that sample, and we will be finding out, like, okay, what is happening there? So why this particular trend is there? How it is looking in various other places? So that would be the general idea for using the whiskers plots. So here if you see, comparing the sales prices of homes on various cities, can you see here? So this is the 2-week comparisons of home sales here, friends. So if you can just see that on a larger picture, so these are going to be individual points here. So for each and every home there is a separate color. By city, for each and every city there is a separate color. And you can see that there is a box and a whisker plot which is available here. So generally this box and whisker plots, what they are going to suggest is, okay. So there are a few things in a box or whiskers what we will be discussing. So we have something called, they are divided into something called quartiles. So the quartile is something like kind of a median of that point is found. For example, this would be the median of the data. So this particular point would be a median of this data, and this would be our first quartile. This would be a second quartile. This would be the third quartile, and all the other data would be above this quartile. So if you see, the whisker basically starts from the lowest point till that of the maximum. So it is saying these are the values which are outliers. Outliers mean the values are not within the distribution and they are outside the distribution. So there are extreme values. Those values are generally negated from our analysis. We will be considering the values from this part until this part alone for our analysis. Because there may be situations that there may be extreme cases. So not everyone go for luxury cars, right? BMWs and other luxury cars. So generally those cases are tagged separately. But when we are generally considering population of India, maximum number of cars that would be produced is in the medium budget segment, maybe in a Maruti Suzuki, or in that kind of segments most of the number of cars would be produced. So that's what it is. So similarly in terms of the home sales also, the pricing of these are too high. Not all people can afford to buy these. So our sample population is going to range from 0 until this particular level. So that's what this whisker is basically going to help us identify. Okay. So generally it is helping us to show the distribution of data. Okay. So which contains like median kind, say there is something called first and third quartile. So generally the range of this whisker is, there is something called interquartile range. So what we talk about is something called interquartile range, which is going to be the difference between your first quartile and third quartile. So between your first and third, what is the difference between that? That will be your general range of your data. So that is some quick introduction on the whisker plots, friends. But however, this is a nice example to see on how the home sales are looking across each and every player. So we'll have a look at this later. So maybe you can have a check. I'll just share you the link for this so that you can make use of it. Okay. So now coming to our example on how to create a whisker and box plot. How to make use of that. First we'll create an example there. So I told you about an upper quartile and a lower extreme. So this is basically called the box. This is the box frame. So within this box, this part we call them as lower quartile and this part we call them as upper quartile. The difference between your upper quartile and lower quartile will give you the interquartile range. That will give you the range of most of your values are present. And this is like the lower extreme and this is the higher extreme. So how these values are calculated? It is basically 1.5 times that of the interquartile range. So first we find the difference between the upper extreme and upper quartile and lower quartile, and 1.5 times of that will give me this entire range. So 1.5 times of that interquartile range is going to be basically my upper extreme there. Okay. So this is what we do. So box indicates the middle 50% of the data. So this is going to be the median of the data. So where most of your data is going to be, the first half of your data is going to be from here to here. Second half is going to range from here to here. So that's what this box plot is saying to us. Okay. So here is a question, friends. Can you all try creating a box plot for me? Find the discount of each region broken down by the segment. So find the discount of each region broken down by its segment. How would you do that? You need to have the discount friends, and you need to have the segments, and you need to create a box plot for this. Can you all try? I'll give you 2 minutes time. In the meantime, I'll get things ready. Okay. Samir is done with that. How about others, friends? Okay. Sagar is done. That's great. So you are all doing a box and a whisker plot, right, friends? Okay. Asani is done. How about you, Kanya and others? Kalpana? Okay. So as most of you have done, I'm just showing my screen, friends, sharing with you all my screen, how to create that. So for this example, I'm using our sample superstore, that is the superstore data. So instead of global superstore, I'm just using our sample superstore. So I've used the Excel source here, data source sample, MT1 data set. Okay. So I'm going to connect it with this sample superstore data set. I'm going to take this ordered table, drop it here, and we'll go to worksheet number 2. Okay. So here what is required, friends? We need the discount based on various segments, right? So this connection, okay, one moment. Yeah. Okay, this is going to be the discount, and what is required? Broken down by region and segment. Discount for each region and segment we require. I'm going to take the region, and I'm going to take the segment here. So based on segment and region, I would like to see the discount percentage that is offered for each and every region. So I would like to represent that in a form of a box plot. Can you see here? Box and whisker plot that is getting enabled by default. So it is saying for box and whisker at least one dimension or one disaggregate should be there. Okay. So what is the requirement here, then? So you must have got this data. See here, one requirement for a box or whisker is use at least one dimension or disaggregate. What is it saying? Here, when seeing with box or whiskers friends, it's generally we need to see the data not with aggregation, we need to disaggregate the data. So why we need to disaggregate the data? The main purpose of disaggregation is to see a various points of distribution, how your data set is there. For this, if my data is aggregated, I will not get an exact picture of the data. For example, if you see, my box and whiskers are plotted here. Can you see this is my lower whisker, this is my upper, and my box, everything is in, it is looking like a perfect graph there. But however, I will not aggregate it, instead I will disaggregate the same. Now you see what happens. Can you see now? So the region, based on each and every region or based on each and every segment, we will have it colored. And these are three separate segments. And we have the region here. And can you see? Can you all disaggregate your data friends? And let me know after you are disaggregating the data. So can you see here, this is what, here is my median data. So if my median is 0.200, the median discount, what I have offered is 0.2, and my upper hinge here is going to be my upper quartile. So that is quartile 3, and it is 0.2, and the lower hinge is 0. So that's what it is. Like my median and my upper quartile both are one and the same here. So here this is like upper whisker is this. So which indicates my median and my upper quartile are basically on the same lines here. So that's what I'm able to see that through this example, where my median and my upper quartile are one and the same. So which means the data is looking like this. So similarly, using this, what I can conclude, friends. So I can say like these are all the items which are within my discount. So it's basically giving me some numbers here. You see, it is saying my median is 0.2. So for this region, for this consumer segment, my median discount what I have given is 0.2. That still remains the same for all the regions there. So it's almost like equally distributed among. So across various segments, my discount has been distributed equally. So instead of now, what I will do, I will take the segment in detail and bring the region in columns. So now we will see how, based on each and every region, how my discount is varying. This is the other way to look at, friends. You see now what is your median? Now my median is going to be 0.2. My upper quartile is going to be 0.3 and lower is 0. So here basically most of my records are between this and this, my upper quartile and lower quartile, and my average discount given in this particular region is going to be something close to 0.2. So where my median is there, that would be my average discount like 0.2, and in this region the same. The median, I haven't given much of discount in this region. So if it is 0 here, so east region I haven't given much discount, and in south region I have given some discount, and median is 0.2. And similarly in west region also, you can just see that the same thing which appears there, 0.2. So this is basically helping me understand the visualization better and understand the various distributions, how my data is spread across various regions, how that is looking. That's what I'm able to see here. This is going to be my normal plot. So this measure of sum, I just need to do a disaggregation here. I'll be unchecking the aggregate, and after I do that aggregation, and I'm going to bring both the segment and region to this particular segment by color, and I'll be bringing both the segment and region to the same view. Now let's see how that is there. So this is what it is, friends. So based on various segments, based on various regions within the segment, how that is getting categorized. we are able to see a nice distribution coming out here with all the values. You will be able to see that. So generally, when this would be used, friends? See, after considering this distribution, friends, there are various modeling that we need to do there in statistics. Before concluding certain things, I need to come out with various models like regression model, the forecasting model, and other things. So before doing those stuff, I would, as a first step, I need this particular thing. That I need to know how my data is distributed, what is my median, what is my average thing, and how my discount has been distributed. So based on this particular information, I will be designing my models there. My statistical modeling, the base step would be this. So that is where I will be making use of this particular graph and chart. Are you getting me, everyone? Are you all getting me, friends? Are you all getting this view at your end also? So this is pretty much simple, but just to understand that there are more complicated things after we see. This is like a first level of understanding of a distribution. So after that, there are various models we need to create, and there are various parameters we need to check, for which we require other advanced statistical tools such as SAS or R or SPSS or Python. We require some advanced analysis tools for creating the model. Okay. So this is what we saw now, friends, on this whisker plots. So now after doing this, we will be able to get a whiskers like this, and you can actually edit this particular whisker plot just by clicking here. You can just edit the whiskers. So you can just click on edit this. So after you click on edit, you can basically change. See here, the whisker extends data within 1.5 times the IQR. Here the IQR is interquartile range. I can basically change the whisker plot type here. I can just set the color, different colors I can give. I can make use of different colors for my whiskers and box plots. I can change the colors and shapes as that is required. So I can have the borders here added, and the whiskers lines I can add, and I can just add a line something like this, and for a whisker, and for the other things maybe a thicker shade of this line, just to make things look even better. So this is a part of reference lines, and what we created sometime before. So you'll be able to see that numbers here. You can enable the text here just to see on the points whatever you wanted to see, or only the whiskers points you would like to see. You can just have a look at those as well. So the other beautifications you can do it here. Okay. You can make use of this chart. So everyone are understanding this whiskers plot, friends, how to create it and how to make use of this whiskers and box plot. Okay. So Sagar is having a question. How would you know which map to use when? It's up to us or it's industry driven? Okay. So Sagar, if you have seen with my experience, I would say, see in terms of mapping features, most of them prefer the default maps what we use in Tableau, Sagar. So if your customers are like very much particular about certain things, in that case you might have to create something on dynamic maps wherein you might have to enter the values dynamically, where we enter the latitude, longitude, that information we might have to give. So in most of the scenarios, they prefer going with the map if they are very much particular. If your company is very much particular on a mapping and this color, they generally give you a service provider, the web mapping service, what we get with all the geocoded information, and everything will be available readily there. You just need to consume that WMS service by adding a new mapping service, what we did. In a similar fashion, you can use that. So in most of the scenarios, most of them use generally the Tableau mapping. However, in certain cases, they prefer doing it their own mappings also. Yes, yes, exactly. So what they need, exactly. So how they need to represent the data and what information that they require. So what is their requirement? So it depends on that further. So what is their requirement? Based on that, they either have their own maps or they generally use the default maps which is given there if they don't want to use anything specific. Okay. Okay, friends. So now we are done with this. We will just go to something called Gantt chart. So where these Gantt charts are useful? So where these Gantt charts are useful? So if you see the appearance and look of this Gantt charts, friends, Gantt charts are generally used for project management purpose. So can you see here? We have the number of days for a work to get completed. So what is the various phases? This is like a design phase, this is the development phase, and this is the testing phase, and this is the UAT phase, and finally it is execution phase. So in a project life cycle, or it can be any of the work what we are doing, we can display the data in a form of a Gantt bar. So Gantt are mainly used in project management, and it's mostly popular in showing the activities and tasks or events against the time. So you can display Gantt charts by selecting a Gantt bar from the mark. So how to do that we will see. One unique thing about the Gantt bars is the length of every mark. The mark what we are seeing, the length of this mark is proportional to the measure placed on the size mark card, whatever you are placing, that measure is proportional to that particular size. So that is one thing we need to note. So the size of these Gantt and bars, if you see, that is proportional to that size there. I think we have a data set specific for this, module number 9. We have a data set for this. Module 9 data set. Okay. So here we have a data set for this module, friends. So we will use this data set, build a house data set for this. Friends, I would recommend you all to please download this data set for this module 9 for this advanced charting. We will make use of this Gantt chart. So for this Gantt chart, friends, I am going to use a new data source. So it's going to be a new data source. What we would be using it is an Excel data source, and you can all download it from our module 9 data set. Let me check, just take this out from here. just placing it here, friends. This sample data set. Build a house. Okay. So I am going to take it from this location. You all similarly you can download this data set and keep it ready so that we can make use of this. Build house.xls. I'm going to click on open from here, friends. Okay. So this is what I'm having. I'm having a category, start date, and the duration. So within this data set, I have three things, friends. One would be my category, next is my start date, and next is going to be my duration of this project. So three items I'm having. So for this particular thing, I'm going to make use of this Gantt chart. Okay. So we'll see how to make use of this Gantt chart. Friends, have you all downloaded this data set and are you able to see this as you are seeing it with me? Okay. So, okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So, friends, now what we'll do is we will take this Gantt chart and we'll take this category, friends. We'll just place the category here and we will place the duration there in the columns. So sum of durations, let me place it in the column. Okay. And I'm going to basically, based on the start date, I'm going to give it as colors. So each and every bar is showing it in a different color view there. So basically I have taken these fields, friends. Sum of duration and category I have taken. Start date in color. And one unique aspect of Gantt chart, what was mentioned there is the field by which you are going to see the measure field, whatever you are using it in the column, the same thing, this particular duration you need to use it in the size also. So what happens is, so based on my duration and number of days, my size of my bars will be proportional to my duration and number of days. So that is one thing what we should note. So I have taken the sum of duration. And I'm just dropping it in the sizing of this bar. So what am I doing here? I'm taking the sum of duration, dropping it in the size. I'm taking the categories on the rows and duration on the column. So this is what I'm doing, and basically this is what I'm getting out there based on the duration, and these are the number of columns what we have done. So this is the task what we have done for now. So till now it is a bar chart only. Till this step it is a bar chart only. Now we are going to make this as a Gantt chart. How to change it? Just go to this mark shelf and there is something called Gantt bar. You just choose that option of Gantt bar. So after you choose that option of Gantt bar, and maybe by ascending order or by based on the sum of duration, if you are seeing whatever it is, no ordering, you can also just click that, not to sort by any order. Descending order, no sort. Okay. So this is what I'm getting there. Can you see now? So based on this, I'm able to see like how long each and every activity is going to take for us. So how long each and every activity is going to get executed and stuff like that. So you just need to change the type to Gantt bar and automatically your bar chart gets converted as Gantt chart. Okay. So after you are getting this visualization, you can just place it in some order so that we are getting that particular order there. So you can either make it in ascending order based on or you can just, you know to sort it, right? You know to sort it based on a particular field. So based on the start date, you just sort it, right click here and sort it based on the start date. So you just from ascending order you give based on the field you select here. Field is going to be the start date, count of start date, or basically the minimum of start date. So I'm just saying apply here and clicking on OK. So this is what, based on my start date, my sorting order comes. First, foundation of a house will take 10 days. Next would be the roof will take 10 days, and then the wall, and then the window, the electric, the plumbing, the flooring, the painting. So this is the order of execution of that task. So what is the number of days? It will take 10 days. That is, when it is starting on 1/6/2016, and when this is starting on 20/6/2016, and when this is starting on 12/6/2016. So can you see now, you are able to get a nice Gantt bars and showing us the various phases of this activity, when it will start, when it will end, like that. This is fine, friends, everyone. Okay, hope you are all getting this Gantt chart, friends. Please stop me if you have any questions. If you are not getting this visualization, please let me know. It's very simple, just change the mark type to Gantt, and then one thing to note in a Gantt chart is the measure field, whatever you are using, the same thing has to be there in the size also, so that the length of that particular, the duration here is my measure. So the length of my bar would be proportional to my duration, whatever I have mentioned there. So that would be proportional to my duration, whatever I have mentioned. So that is one more thing that we should note, friends. Okay, is this fine, everyone? We'll move on to the next chart here, friends. Next chart type, what we are going to see here is going to be a waterfall chart. Okay, so what is a waterfall chart? So this waterfall chart is nothing but is going to be showing us the running total of a particular measure. So for a running total, what we need to use? We need to use table calculation, right, for a running total. To display a running total, we need to make use of something called table calculations there. So that's how we use the running total for that. Okay. So we make use of something called table calculation, and we make use of running total there. Fine. So in how a waterfall is looking, friends, so it is flowing from top and it's coming to one layer and then the next layer and then the other layer, like that the water is flowing, and then finally the water is coming down in the form of a waterfall. Something in a similar in nature, we can create the charts also, friends. So I will show you how to create that waterfall chart. Okay. So so basically here we'll take the profit field, and so profit as a field for running total, so which has both positive and negative values. So that would be easy for us to represent that. So first we will take an example for this. Okay. So you all connect to the data source, friends. Okay. And so I'm not going to use the one what they are showing. I'll be doing something different than the visualization what is there already, because we can see that also what is given in that exercise later. So for now I'm going to use something called waterfall chart. Okay. So as you know, it is going to be a waterfall chart here. So it is going to show the running total profit against the dimension number. So this is basically we are going to use two things, friends. One will be using the profit, and the other one will be using the subcategory. So for this, I am going to take sample superstore data. So one is profit, and other one is going to be my subcategory item. Okay. So one is going to be my profit field, and other one is going to be my subcategory field here. I'm just going to sort it in ascending order. Can you see, as soon as I sorted this particular field in ascending order, and I'm going to do a control click on this subcategory and drop it in my color sense. Can you see, this itself, this is the initial stage of a waterfall. My profits are going up, it's slowly coming down, and it's coming down, down and down, and finally it's flowing down towards the downward direction. So, in order to make it even more better looking, friends, in terms of looking like a waterfall kind of appearance and look. So, what we can do this is, we are going to create a table calculation for this profit. So, how to create that? So, quick table calculation, and I am going to say it is going to be the running total. So I am going to select the running total from this front. Can you see now? After I selected the running total, this is how it is looking. So first it is 286, 397, next 230, like that, 186. This is basically going to give me my profit. So if I want to know my actual profit, I will take my profit, drop it in tooltip, so that it's displaying me my actual profit, how much it is, and what is the running total sum of profit. Okay, so this is my first step, what I will be doing, and here also I am supposed to change the mark type, friends. Here I need to change the mark type as Gantt bar. Can you see now what has happened? So as soon as I change this mark type as Gantt bar, my chart has been changed totally now. Okay. So, what is the rule of thumb in a Gantt bar, friends? So, whatever field which I am giving it in rows, I need to have that field in my sizing also. So, that is one important rule of thumb in whenever you are using Gantt bar, friends. So, the field whatever you are using in measures, the same thing you should be adding it to the size as well. So, here I am going to do a small twist here. See, I am going to create a calculated field here. I am going to create a calculated field for negative profit. So I will tell you why I am going to create a negative profit here. See, what is happening here, friends? I need to extend this Gantt bar from here till here. So for this, if I am adding a positive profit there, it might not extend that towards that direction. So what I am doing, you just carefully observe this, I am taking it in the size and dropping it in the profit size. Can you see now? As soon as I drop my negative sum of profit there, my Gantt bars got extended towards this direction. And can you see now? My overall sum of profit is this much. So now from tooltip I will remove this negative profit so that I don't want this to be displayed. This is for just a small visualization perspective. I created this negative profit. So I just clicked on OK. So now my waterfall chart is ready. So my waterfall is flowing like this, and then there is a jump like this. And then it's going on. Can you see that? So profit is negative here. So the running total sum is also negative there. You can just see that. So instead of negative profit, let me put positive profit and see in the sum how that is looking. Yeah, even it doesn't make any difference here, friends. Even if it is a positive profit or negative profit, it doesn't make any difference. We are able to get that numbers here. So whatever numbers we are seeing, that is working perfectly fine. So it should not be a great deal for us. You can either use a negative profit or you can also use a positive profit. So, and one more thing I need to do here, friends. I have given the colors by subcategory. Instead of colors by subcategory, I'm going to give the colors based on my profit. So based on my profit, my color I'm changing. I'm just editing the colors and I'm changing the colors to a stepped one. Stepped colors, I'm just changing to 5 stepped colors. So maybe I'll since it's a profit, I'm making it as green red diverging. Red green diverging is there. I'm just clicking on apply. Okay. So after I'm doing this, I'm just changing this analysis. From this analysis, I'm just selecting show grand total. From this analysis, I'm just selecting the totals. Show row grand totals or column grand totals, I think. So maybe I'll just be able to see the sum of totals there just for that purpose. So the other things are like not mandatory, friends. The only thing that is required is just change the mark type to profit and then change it to stepped colors so that you know these are the items that are most profitable. These are the items that are least profitable and these are in negative profit. This is how the items are looking. So this can really help you out. This negative profit sums. So either you drop the positive profit on the sum or a negative profit on the sum. You can just see. If you are dropping a negative profit on the sum, it will be even more bigger thing there, the last one. If you are dropping the positive profit on the sum, on the size, you can just see whatever it is based on this view. So it is just to change the view alone, friends. Okay. How many of you got this same exact visualizations and how many of you want me to repeat it once again? Sure, no problem. Sagar, that negative profit formula, it is just nothing but it is just to see my visualization in a different way. I just created that formula, but that is not mandatory, Sagar. But even without that, also I'm getting the exact visualization. So I just put a negative symbol before my profit. Okay. So I'm just going to repeat the steps once again, friends. Okay, I'm just clearing off the sheet. So I'll just repeat the steps once again. You can have that. Okay, rest is fine for you. Okay. So maybe I think some of us wanted to see that again. See, we'll take first subcategory, friends. Okay, and we will take the sales. The profit. We'll take the subcategory and we'll take the profit. So after we take the subcategory and the profits, I'm just ordering it in the ascending sum and just swapping the axis so that my chart is looking something like this. This itself is looking like a waterfall. Okay, but in order to make it even more better, what I will do is I'm just going to so after I have added this, I just go here right click here and add a table calculation, quick table calculation. I'm going to say it is going to be running total here. So why I'm making the running total is I wanted to know what are all my most profitable items, what are the least profitable items, what are the items which are somewhat profitable. So in order to do that, what I'm doing, I'm taking my profit in colors. I'm putting my profit in colors. I'm just editing the colors and making the colors as stepped colors from red until green, the 5 step colors. So that's what I'm making it. So now my colors are done. Okay. Now what I'll do, I'm just going to change the mark type here. So this mark type I'm going to change it as Gantt bars. So when I'm having a Gantt bars initially, it will be just showing me like this view only. I would like to extend this further downward direction. So for that what I'm doing, I'm just creating something called negative profit, a calculation. So here I can use the positive profit also, even that is working fine. So as soon as I drop that, my bar gets extended towards the downward direction. You can just see that here. So as soon as your bars get extended towards this, you will be able to see how they are working here within that and how that is looking there. So this is looking like a waterfall, friends. From top to bottom the water is flowing and it is coming down, down, down. And these are the least performing categories for me. The bookcases, the suppliers, the fasteners, the machines, labels, art, envelopes. And the tables are lowest among all, and these are the other categories that are highly performing compared to the others. Is this clear for everyone, friends? Are you all clear with this? Okay, friends. So what I will do is I will save all these charts and I will show these charts when I'm going to deploy this. I'm going to show you on next module. I will be showing you how to deploy it to your server. So here we will be deploying it to your public.tableau.com. So I'll show you how to deploy it to your server. That point of time, you will be able to see everything under public.tableau.com. So I'll be hosting all these charts under my profile, so that you can have a look at any time, and we'll be able to see that anytime. Okay, friends, I'm just stopping the presentation with this. So I think for any other questions, you can let me know, and we shall. So next week, friends, I think I need 2 more classes. I think Monday and Tuesday. If you are okay for tomorrow also, I can take it up tomorrow and Sunday and finish it within this week itself. If you are not okay for tomorrow, day after, we'll have 2 more classes to be done on Monday and Tuesday. So please let me know if you are okay with tomorrow, day after, or you want it on Monday, Tuesday. Anything I'm fine, friends. Anything I'm fine with that. Monday, Tuesday, as most of you wanted on Monday and Tuesday, so busy this weekend, no problem. Friends, not an issue. So we will have it on Monday, Tuesday. Okay? No worries, friends. So if we are working this, then it should be fine. Okay? I'll schedule 2 more classes on Monday and Tuesday, friends. So please revisit all these concepts and try doing your assignments again. So I'm repeating that again and again, friends, because that is going to help you out more. Okay? Okay, friends, then so I'm just, we'll call it a day and we'll stop it till now. So we all shall continue again the next class. Okay friends, then so hope everyone understood on today's session, right? If you had any difficulties, please let me know. We will work it out now itself. Okay? Rather than waiting for your feedback and then knowing on Monday, I can know it now itself. Let me know if you're not understanding. Okay, so Shweta has a question, when should we submit our project? Okay, so Shweta, after our classes are done, okay, we will be given 2 weeks time. So within that 2 weeks time, you need to submit your project. So that is the time when you need to activate your Tableau license. So I'll let you know on that. So that is the time when we need to activate your Tableau license. Okay. So Hasini has a question, how to maintain the versions of each and every chart, means version control. So Hasini, I'm going to talk to you about 2 of these charting concepts. So one would be like something called, after we are deploying this chart to the server, we can do versioning there only. In the server, there will be, by default, Tableau is providing us the version controls there. So whenever you are deploying this project to the server, that point of time only we can do the versioning of the project. So till then we will not be able to do. So first I will tell you the deployment, then the versioning comes there. Is that fine? Okay. So Sagar is asking what happens if we cross 2 weeks schedule. So nothing, Sagar, you can just mail them that I am unable to complete it within the 2 weeks time and I need some one more extra week to complete the assignment. So they will be extending it. That's not a big deal. Yeah, Shantini, Monday and Tuesday the same time, Shantini. Yeah, IST time. That is from India time 7 to 9 in the morning, the same time. Okay friends, thank you Shantini, thank you Sagar, Lopita, Jai Shri, Kalpana. See you all friends, Hasini, Jai Shri, Kalpana, Prajakti, Salim, Samir, Shweta. See you all. Let's all catch up again on Monday. You all have a great weekend. Enjoy. So let's catch up again on Monday. Okay, you missed some of the initial part of today's session. No issues, Shantini. We were discussing about the LOD examples. You please follow it up with the recordings. That should help you. Okay, friends, then. So let's all catch up tomorrow. The next class that is on Monday. Okay, okay. You joined when I was explaining the exclude part. Okay, not an issue. Yeah, you can catch it up from the recordings, or on Monday if you come for the class, Shantini, you can let me know. So, like if you have any questions, you can always let me know for anything. Oh, okay, not a problem, Shantini. So since we are starting it by 7, so I just didn't wait for everyone to join because not sure if everyone are joining there. So that's why I didn't wait. So not a big deal, Shantini. For any questions, you please come back to me. We'll always have it answered. Okay? Don't worry about that. Okay, friends. So thank you everyone, and you all have a great weekend. Take care. See you next week. Bye bye.